Hello friends, and welcome to part 2 of Kenny's Chinese Connections in From. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure you go check out part 1 linked here. In this video, we cover in detail how Kenny may be connected to the man in yellow, as well as other clues about Kenny being the lonely dragon and how I think he will find the map or the key to the way out of FROMville. So make sure you go check that out first, pause here, and then come right back to this video. So we're going to just jump right into it. I want to start off with the constant use of tea that we see throughout the series. Now, at least in my experience, tea, it isn't really a daily staple in the US like it is in other countries, so it kind of caught my eye right away. We see Tian Chen often offering tea within the diner.
You like tea?
And we also see the Matthews family enjoying a spot of tea, as well as Donna offering tea often and Tilly offering tea to Fatima. Tea. We see everybody drinking tea. And this all got me thinking about the long history across human civilization tied to health, vitality, and spiritual practices. And as it relates to Kenny and his Chinese heritage, we know things like Chinese medicine and even ancient Wu shamanistic practices. They all involve the use of herbs and ingredients found in nature. These practices being an early form of alchemy, a sort of chemistry to create elixirs and potions and kind of like magic in a lot of ways. The goal for alchemists and ancient Chinese shamans, primarily to create an elixir of immortality. Now, we know that FROMville is a magical place, created out of the original inhabitants' desire to gain immortality. And so I can't help but think that the tea we see is a huge clue. And not only the tea, but we also see the current residents use natural ingredients in alchemy, like with the chaga mushrooms Randall was looking for.
What are you looking for?
Chaga. It's mushroom. Grows in cold weather. Mario and Christy are on some holistic foraging trip.
Or the herb Julie and Elgin smoke, and even the moonshine Tom and Jade were brewing. Things they used to change the natural state of humans, to alter their bodies and their minds. We get another clue when we're told that Miranda dropped acid and from there was able to sort of remember FROMville and her previous lives. Now, I know in the real world in modern times, most people think magic and potions and all this shit is bullshit. But this is not unlike practices used even today, like ayahuasca or taking mushrooms, thought to open up your mind to a spiritual world, allow you to access sort of another dimension of reality that can help you understand or even better navigate this world. So I think all this stuff, the tea, the herbs, the mushroom, the alcohol, the acid, it's all important to the story. Kenny, and maybe more importantly, Tian Chen, her knowledge and history with herbal remedies will be the key to breaking the curse and getting out of FROMville. Now, y'all remember Tian Chen's book of herbs that Ethan found? She kept lots of herbs in the diner, the cavern of the lonely dragon, so to speak. And perhaps with Kenny's help, they can create some sort of concoction that will trick the monsters or something that can give them powers, maybe even open their minds like how the acid trips helped Miranda retrieve her memories of the past. Like we talked about in part 1, the Lonely Dragon's Cavern has the map to get out of here.
It's like the cavern of the lonely dragon, so maybe we'll find a map in here.
And we saw connections to ancient Chinese baguas, the talismans, and feng shui for finding life force or qi. I think Kenny will be able to figure out how to decipher where the qi of this place is and where they need to go to get out. We already know there are energy or magical hotspots in FROMville, places like the ruins that allowed Julian Boyd to time travel and meet Martin, or the holes in the faraway trees. Remember Martin said he used to think the town was the worst part. Well, I think Kenny will help them get to and past the next part, whatever that may be. Now, one of the most important female gods in Taoism in ancient China is the Queen Mother of the West, a beautiful, powerful goddess who lives in the Kunlun Mountains, the mythical realm of immortals. She's associated with immortal peaches. Yes, peaches, like we see with Victor constantly with the eating the canned peaches stuff. These peaches, they grow on the peach tree of immortality, a sacred tree in the garden of the Queen Mother. These peaches, they take 3,000 years to ripen, and eating one is what grants eternal life. It's interesting how the Queen Mother legend involves a peach tree of immortality, and our boy Victor is connected to both peaches and knowledge of the faraway tree. He's the only one to have survived this place through multiple cycles. And like the legendary peach tree, the faraway tree is a sacred tree as well. It seems to allow people to travel to different times and locations, and as we saw with Miranda's flashback, it's potentially the way to travel out of here. FROMville in general is like the home of the Queen Mother. It's a place where one is granted immortality, like the OG townsfolk. And perhaps like in the legend, this new cycle, it marks a time when the metaphorical peaches have ripened, and this new reincarnation of the townsfolk will be served their immortal peaches, carrying on to the next life to continue this never-ending curse. Okay, now let's talk about physics and the Schrodinger's cat stuff.
Schrodinger's cat, that's the paradox. So you put the cat in the box, and you close the box, as long as you never open it again.
The cat is theoretically alive and dead at the same time.
Now, some people draw connections between ancient Chinese yin-yang philosophy and modern physics, kind of like the whole Schrodinger's cat idea. Now, I'm definitely no physicist, but the basic idea is that yin and yang can be seen as two parts of a constantly shifting system, like a wave that's always in motion. The symbol itself shows that duality. Both sides exist at the same time, both yin and yang, dead and alive like the cat. By season 3, we see Jade leaning more into the science behind FROMville, how Tabitha and the rest might be slipping between the real world and this place.
She experienced some kind of quantum event, right? Or a wormhole, or any number of theoretical events that would allow her to get from the lighthouse in the woods to Camden, Maine.
And this ties back to my theory from part 1 of my Kenny video. We talked a lot about the Chinese bagua and how the talismans in From are like that. In real life, bagua mirrors are hung above doors to ward off evil spirits. Same idea as the talismans. But more importantly, bagua are tools for divination. They're used to understand the nature of reality, map out energy, and guide the flow of qi, that life force rooted in yin-yang duality, where two opposing states coexist and shape existence as we know it. So, if the talismans are basically From's version of a bagua, maybe they're more than protective charms. Maybe they're a compass, tapping into the quantum forces that let people slip between the worlds. FROMville and the real world could be the two opposing states that coexist, the dead and the alive. And speaking of yin-yang, in ancient Chinese philosophy, there's not really a belief in all white or black magic. You cannot summon something good without also summoning something bad, and vice versa. This is also a lot like Newton's third law of physics. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And opposites, they're not in conflict, but interdependent. We see symbolism of this through the talismans, the mirrored interconnected figures, as well as the sun and the moon opposing each other. This brings us back to the man in yellow again.
The knowledge comes with a cost.
With the good comes the bad. They are interconnected, and you can't change that. It's the natural order. Now, according to some ancient beliefs, you can attract evil spirits as well as be cursed by the gods if you use violence, or selfish, or otherwise disrupt harmony. So this is exactly what the original townspeople did when they sacrificed children for their own selfish desire to have immortality. Now, there's a couple other little tidbits I thought were also interesting connections about Tian Chen and Bing Qian's names. Tian meaning heaven. Chen also associated with the sign of the dragon in Chinese astrology. The same connections to yellow, spring, earth, the man in yellow that we talked about with Kenny's ancestry in part 1. Tian Chen being both heaven and earth, another representation of duality and yin and yang, traversing both worlds of heaven and earth, FROMville and the real world. And Bing Qian, well, it's also an ancient coin. The coin is a circle with a square hole in the center. It represents yin and yang, the square being yin, the circle being yang, also representing the circle being heaven, the square being earth, just like Tian Chen. These coins were also used in ancient Chinese divination, similar to how the bagua are used for guidance and directing the flow of energy. All these connections are hard for me to ignore. It seems the Liu family is deeply connected to this place and understanding the duality of reality. perhaps there's something here about heaven versus earth. They are in the heavenly place. Well, not in the same way we might traditionally think of heaven, but that different reality, a place of gods and greater beings, like the Kunlun Mountains in the Queen Mother story with the peach tree and shit that we talked about earlier, where one can achieve immortality, a place where one can travel between both worlds, heaven and earth. All right, well, that's all I got. I know this video, this part 2, has been a long time coming, so thank you all so much for your patience, and I'm sticking around to get more From content from me. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please ensure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more breakdowns. I want to hear your theories and ideas about all this in the comments below. Special thanks to my channel members for throwing a little extra support my way. This means so much to me and really helps keep this channel alive. Until next time, toodles.